Okay, when you're ready.
All right. I'm not sure how many people are aware that since we joined the EEC in 1973, that our trade with the EU has cost us a fortune. It's since 1973, the balance of trade is a deficit worth well over £1 trillion at this moment in time. It is absolutely obscene that the EU is demanding that we give them £80 billion before we'll even start talking about trade, when we've already lost over £1 trillion in trade with them. Over the same period, we have a trade surplus with the rest of the world of getting on for about £240 billion, which is a quarter of the loss that we've made trading with the EU.
Is this documented? You know, we can back up
yes,
figures?
anybody can check this out for themselves. What I've done is taken the balance of trade figures published for each year from 1973, corrected it to 2014 values using the website on the University of Illinois, how much was it worth, and then adding the results up. You need to do this because the value of the money that we lost in say 1975 or 76 or whatever is worth much more today than it was then, so one needs to correct it all to the same level.
And was there something you were speaking of earlier about pensions?
Yes. The youngsters in this country seem to think that us oldies have voted to come out of the EU and ruin their prospects. In fact, we've saved them from a lifetime of working to help pay for EU pensions. In 2005, the European Central Bank commissioned a report by the University of Freiburg on the pension liabilities of various EU countries. 18 countries responded, one of which was the UK. They found that the UK had the least or the best pension liability of the lot. Our pension liability for the UK was about in the 90% of GDP. Countries like Germany, France, Italy, and so on had pension liabilities of over 300% of their GDP. Now, even with the low liability that we have, we're having to increase the pensionable age from 60 and 65 to 69 and 70. So it does not bode very well for the pensioners in the EU, where the pension liability is over 300% of GDP. Now, if people think that they were going to be able to work all their lives without contributing to this vast pension deficit, they got another thing coming, because the UK is the second highest provider of money to the EU after Germany, and it's pretty obvious that they would rely on the UK helping to fund their pensions all through their working lives. So we've actually saved our children from a big cost.
I noticed, as a little aside, that they've been saying that because of us growing older people, we're spending their pension money, which I think they forget, don't they, that we've been paying into pensions all of our lives.
Yes.
And we're trying to retrieve the pension money that we paid in that has been spent on other things.
Absolutely.
So if they want to know where the money's gone, go to the government.
Absolutely. And the big pension deficit comes about as a result of the fact that all civil servants and armed forces and nurses and people in public jobs, their pensions are paid out of the tax that is taken off people working now.
Yes.
So all their pensions, they haven't actually contributed anything towards their pensions. We're paying for it at the moment.
That's true. Government jobs are paid for by the taxes. They're in effect, the wages they're given are coming straight out of what they've put in, aren't they?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah,
we're paying for we're paying their salaries and their pensions.
Yes,
exactly.
exactly.
There's two ways of looking at it.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else you'd like to add?
One has to remember as well, and this has just been pointed out to me, that with this vast debt that we, have paid to the EU, the vast amount of money we paid them, that for the last 20 years or so, their accounts haven't been signed off, and we're putting all this money into a very corrupt organisation which can't even get its books signed off.
It's almost a money pit.
Yeah.
I wonder if the young people realise too, the EU who spends and doles out the money doesn't have any money of its own. It all belongs to the countries that are paying in.
Absolutely. And I've heard youngsters sort of saying, this development was paid with EU money, and that really annoys me, because It's not EU money, it's our money, which we've had to fight to get back out of the EU.
Exactly.